Welcome back. So today I'm gonna to speak about the Kali Yuga because I had a lot of questions about that coming to me. So let's explain in a Buddhist perspective. So first you need to understand what is the Kali Yuga. So that's a prophecy that have been done on the Vedic and basically most on the Hinduist stuff. But we got also that in Buddhism called the middle of the road. That's a prophecy that had been done by the Buddha. So that explains that, on the Buddhist terms, that explains that people gonna to have less merit, die early age and so on. But if we look on also on the Hindu prophecies of the Kali Yuga, so I can tell you a couple of lines. So a man will be recognized for his possession, not his merit. So that's one of the big one. So that's basically to be recognized in our terms. We recognize people as what they possess, if they are rich or not. And merit, if someone has virtue, is totally out of the game. Also, there is another line saying that the women of our time gonna to use decency and being basically uncontrollable about themselves, and they gonna to use their virtues. So yeah, that's what we see today. Something about the war also. So they say that politicians, what they call kings, gonna to use their appetite for doing their duty and gonna to become selfish and basically gonna to work for themselves instead of working for people. So that we can see that today in our time, yes, if you look at the politicians, there is a lot who work for themselves instead of working for people. So there's a couple of friends about the Kali Yuga, but no. So today that's called Age of Kali, Samsara, business as usual. So why is... So yes, the conflict and so on that exist in our world. Yes, for sure that I've been already there for a very long time, and you don't need to be Buddhist to just open your eyes that whatever age you have been, whatever age you have, you can see that war have always been there, and on a Buddhist point of view, that's samsara as usual. That's because that's war is created from greed and no kindness and non-understanding and basically ignorance. So that's war as usual. Selfishness, so for us, that's ego grasping. So yes, once again, that's samsara as usual. Is basically for why is so ignorance once again, selfishness. So that's even bigger than ignorance. That's greed, and that greed that's come from the fact that you don't understand why we're suffering and the cause of suffering. And so basically the Kali Yuga for us in Buddha Dharma, that's the path. That's pretty much, samsara as usual is we don't see that there is really a decrease or an increase in the suffering, because the suffering have been already there and still there, and you don't need to be a scientific to see that suffering have always been existed since the beginningness of time. Is we can be very, very aware of suffering if we open our eyes, and we can just see that why some country got everything and some other got literally nothing, why some people got everything and some other got literally nothing. Just that that's a proof of suffering. Yes, things that's getting greater in our time. We don't know how much was the suffering 10,000 years before. We don't know. We don't even know what was a time without suffering, because yes, what we need to understand that the samsara is never a place of security, never have been, never, ever, ever. The war in Ukraine is a good example of that. That's never been a place of security. The fact that also that the samsara have never have been a place of where we can appreciate what we have. Like we are never satisfied. Mirapa say himself that even a drop of water have never satisfied our thirst, so how come we can just be satisfied with what we have? Also the cycle of birth and rebirth. So both Hinduism and Buddhism are very aware of the cycle of birth and rebirth. Yeah, that's, you give a chunk of time. Sometimes you give longer, sometimes you give less than we think. Yes, that's also the proof that the samsara is suffering. So birth after rebirth. So when we look at that, do our times is worse than before? Well, if we look just going from the 21st century to just the 20th century, the 20th century have been full of war. 21st century have started already by the World Trade Center, Al-Qaeda, and the war in Iraq and the war in Afghanistan. So as a human species, we have to do war, we have to do the destruction.